So spawning in the top side of the map in the color teal, we have Conquerer999, also known as Dictator. He's going to be playing as British, and I'm very glad to see that he picked the best color in the game. And on the other side of the map, we have the King of Walls himself, Kynesie, playing as Dutch, actually, in the color red. And this is not a civilization I've ever seen him play, I think, so that's kind of interesting. But makes a lot of sense on Pampas Sierras, I suppose, without the trading posts and the 2 gold mines in base.
Yeah, I have no UI installed, but that'll be fine. I'll install it for next time.
Yeah, you'll have to live with it for this game. But yeah,
that's fine.
Both players just sticking to the left side of the map here. Pretty normal stuff. Let me just turn this down real quick. Gonna be picking up those llamas. Looks like it's going to be roughly a 50-50 split. I imagine Conqueror will probably pick up this last llama, so not too much to talk about there. Although Kynesie did manage to pick up 90 food and get the 4-4 llama split as a result of having that extra scouting unit, so that's going to be nice for him. Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. So, like I said before, I haven't really ever seen Kynesie play Dutch in 1v1. Maybe that's just because I haven't played with him a whole lot, but I suppose you sort of need to add an extra civ to your civ pool, as the civ rules for this tournament are a little bit different. You, in the previous tournaments, in ESOC events at least, you can usually replay one of your civs, so you could potentially win twice with a civilization, but in the New World Championships, you cannot win with a civilization more than once, so gonna need more civs than normal, so maybe that's why he just wants to get Dutch out there.
Yeah, it seems like a fine map to use them on if you're going to use it at all. But it's a blessing and a curse in a way. I mean, being able to play your same civ multiple times, if you lose with it, is nice because it's sort of safer. You can take your main civ in any game, and you don't have to worry too much because if you lose, you can just use it again. But you are right in the sense that if you do win with it, yeah, you aren't able to use it again. So this perhaps more challenging in some ways, but less in others. There will be a Carrera de Bois contention, though. Looks like Kynesie going to be killing that last wolf, coming closer to the treasure now. He's going to spot Conqueror's Explorer standing there. Looks like Conqueror going in for the crack shot, I think.
I think Conqueror got it. Yeah.
Conqueror gets that.
I'm pretty sure he did. We'll see in a moment here. Yeah, he did, and that's a really, really nice pickup for him. Especially as Brit, the civ that already has lots of vills. Getting a CDB on top of it is going to be really nice for his boom and transition here. He could potentially use that CDB for a forward base or something if he wanted to. Looks like that might be where it's going right now, or it could just be going to this hunt here. But either way, definitely going to be a nice pickup for him. A sad day for Kynesie. But looks like both players are going up to the fortress, going up to Colonial. Pretty standard politicians so far. The governor coming down for Conqueror, so you could potentially use that tower to set up a forward base, which it looks like he is going to be doing, or maybe secure some extra resources out of one of the sides here. This is a bit of a tricky matchup for Dutch, I think. Even if Kynesie goes for his usual sort of playstyle where he walls up a lot, I think it's a little bit more difficult to defend early on, as you don't have anything that really outranges the longbow, and even in Fortress Age, it's a little bit harder to get cannons as Dutch because you don't have a shipment or something, so you still have you have to train cannons, otherwise you are still going to be outranged by Brits' longbows and their own cannons, so I'm interested to see how Kynesie approaches Dutch with his usual playstyle. He's got a lot of vills on gold right now, could be an indication of maybe a bank wagon build instead of the usual 700 wood. Doesn't have a lot of food in the bank either for a second bank, so we'll have to see what his first card is, but it looks like it could be bank wagon. No military building going down yet, and actually eating the llamas, so okay, maybe it is going to be a 700 wood start, so trying to go for that 3 bank start. Meanwhile, forward barracks going down for Conqueror next to this outpost that will be down shortly. Gathering a lot of wood at the moment, so could be going for maybe longbow pike or something of that nature. How you holding up over there without the UI interjection?
I don't know. It's just a stream of sort of information entering my mind. I'm more like watching this than I am casting it, but it's fun. I don't know. I'm just taking a bit more laid back approach this time around. Normally, I'm very talkative and perhaps too talkative. Today, I'm on holiday and seems good.
All right, fair enough. I'll try to compensate a little bit this time around. But yeah, second bank going down for Kynesie along with some wall segments. But there's going to be 5 pikes coming out here, and the Explorer blocking the foundation of that wall at the moment is going to be making it a little bit more difficult for him to actually complete that wall, but it does sort of cover this little choke between the 2 banks here. But yeah, Pike's getting straight onto the bank right away, and with no units out or no military building to defend this, it's going to take potentially quite a lot of damage. It has a lot of HP, so it's not going to go down very easily. You could still potentially call Minutemen or something like that. But getting some damage down onto this bank could mean that it will be a point of pressure later on.
Yeah, gotta pull those pikes away.
Yeah, and even if he has to pay to repair this, it's like losing that pikeman for all that idle time in the town center, and for the repair on that bank is not going to be is not going to I don't know what I'm saying. Losing the pike for it for doing damage to that bank is not really a big deal. But giving him time to complete these walls, on the other hand, might be a big deal. Suddenly, all of them going up very quickly. The pike's going almost all the way home for some reason. Envoy just scouting the base.
What does the envoy come across? It's just some villagers here. He's going to see the pikes there and know they're quite far away now as well.
Yeah, that's
Perhaps the envoy will get attacked. Oh, looks like it could be going down there. Goodbye, Mr. Envoy.
Yeah, for sure. 600 wood coming out for Conqueror. No second racks and no additional units coming out. So I wonder if he's just going to be hard booming and maybe aging behind this or something like that. Is there a stable anywhere or anything? It doesn't look like it. So this is a little bit slower than it seemed at first with this type of build. Just lots of manners going down for the moment, just going to try to match Dutch's boom. And he did actually manage to stifle Kynesie's boom a little bit. There's only 3 banks here, instead of maybe the usual 4 or 5 we would see with this 700 wood bank wagon, 600 wood type of build. He invested a lot into these skirmishers, maybe expecting a little bit more aggression, made sure he got the walls down really fast with a lot of extra villagers, so it cost him a little bit of extra villager seconds than maybe he normally would have liked to invest into building this wall. So it's definitely paid off for Conqueror for sure.
That is a long wall. It is quite complete though, if you consider like the natural scenery around. It sort of comes towards that wall, the cliff, and then also the water as well. So he has got quite a lot of room in his base that's fully walled up.
Yeah, for sure.
Kynesie turtle style. I can't see what their economies are looking like, but you mentioned the British. He didn't go for a second barracks. In fact, he's not really bothered training really any more units either. Just a few pikemen I can see. Has he gotten all 20 manners and now sending 700 gold? No military buildings. Perhaps he's just going to go up the back of this and be in the fortress age with all 20 manners and
yeah, that looks to be the plan.
Like what he's going to do.
He's going to be clicking up shortly, almost has the resources to do so. And with how much Kynesie's invested into this this colonial defense, this could be a little bit tricky for him to deal with. He doesn't really have any units that he can really afford to push out of his base with. Like, skirmishers by themselves are not really something you want to try and test the waters with, like leaving the base and poking the forward base without protection of some sort. So an early like age up and falconet shipment could be a little bit of a problem. But that being said, it does take a long time for British to hit the fortress age. So it will be a while before he can get there, and Kynesie's going to be following him up very shortly. Actually, I believe Kynesie's going to hit fortress age before he does, so not going to be too bad, actually.
Now. A few longbowmen coming out. Perhaps he's macroing quite a few on wood as well. That might just be for the veterancy upgrades. I wonder if he's going to go longbowman and do something with those. You mentioned earlier longbows and cannons, lots of range.
Mm-hmm.
Could be strong.
Yep. Hang on a second. Thanks for the subscription, Eddie Holland. Appreciated.
Oh my god, I've never seen Eddie Holland before.
Me neither. I don't know who he is. But good walls going down on the sides here for Conqueror as well, just making sure that he's not going to have to deal with any raids or anything later on. Means he can focus entirely on potentially breaking the front part of the base here from Dutch. He's also fully boomed up to 200 mana population, which is going to be pretty good. His the recalculated economic population actually says this is better for Brit than it is for Dutch. He's only got 4 banks at the moment, though, so when that 5th bank does go down, it will be slightly better. Can you see poking forward just a little bit? I think he senses that something's
coming out
up.
of the barracks and heading back in again. They've sort of been walking a little bit forward, but they don't really want to stray too far from that gate.
Yeah, likely waiting for... I think he feels like he has to push soon, but he wants to wait just a little bit before he has units. I think he sort of knew that
here we go.
Conqueror
An extra
must
batch
be
of
aging.
hussars coming out. Oh, and that's it as well. 8 Reuters, or pardon me, 9. And that must make a lot of sense. Now that they've come out, a little bit of a spring in Kynesie's step, so to speak. I think he's a bit more confident. We can see those skirmishers now making their way out without any second thoughts, and going to head across the map with sort of the cavalry army, which actually looks like it's going to head off to the right, veering off here, perhaps going to go around the long way. We'll see what he has in mind. But Conqueror has gone full longbows, and he's got the veterancy in there as well. 8 villagers just arriving now by the looks of it, so he must really have quite a nice economy with all of those villagers from the manors as well. But let's take a look. Just 1 barracks on the front there from him. In the back, a couple of stables as well. So let's like we're going to be seeing perhaps dragoons come out to accompany these longbows. Hussars do spot the army there, and this is a good time for Kynesie. He should have sort of a higher military population. He's not invested so much in eco, and that 8 villages has just arrived for British, which is not a military shipment here. So Kynesie probably looking to come in, do a bit of damage. Skirmishers coming forward. They might pick off a Vil here. They are forcing everything home. No, that does survive. Greatcoats is in. Looks like 5 hussars coming out there, though. Skirmishers coming forward. Cavalry now coming forward. Looks like we're going to see a fight. Pikemen on top of the Reuters going to come back there. Cavalry found themselves on top of the longbows. This is really nice. But the trees, a little bit awkward. Goons in the back are doing well against the cavalry here. Looks like Kynesie going to try and focus them down. This looks like it's going to be quite a good fight for Conqueror. For Kynesie are going to be coming out ahead here. Minutemen being called in just to even it out a bit. But 10 longbowmen do arrive, plus 5 more from the barracks there. And that is actually going to even it up. 2 hussars coming back, but very low HP. They're not really going to get all that much work done. And Conqueror retasking the longbows onto the skirmishers here. Just going to ignore that hussar for the time being here. And this looks like it'll be... Oh, but here comes 4 more cavalry, Mitoe. But there should be another batch of units from Conqueror. Yes, Dragoons now entering. This is a really nice fight. Just as in the nick of time, all the right units showing up. And actually, it seems like a fairly even exchange.
Yeah, it was looking really good for Kynesie for a while there, but a lot of units popping for Dictator gave him a really good positioning in that fight. And I kind of feel like once the smoke is cleared, well, more reinforcements coming in, I kind of feel like once the smoke is cleared here, this is looking like a really good position for Brit to be in. He still has his forward base, he retains map control. He's going to lose a couple of Vils to these few Hussars that did split off from the rest of the army. But at the end of the day, he's got a pretty solid economic lead, and he's retained map control, and that's pretty much the dream position for British, it feels like. One of British's biggest weaknesses is not being able to hold on to that map control when they decide to boom really, really hard. And yeah, as a result, not going to have that issue. Still going to be able to gather resources safely with the majority of his villagers, so... I think you got to be happy about if you're British, you got to be happy about this situation.
Yeah, I feel like he's in a commanding lead at the moment. He's definitely got to be pleased, right?
Still only 4 banks for Kynesie as well, so
yeah.
Batch of 10 Hussars coming behind this, going to clean up the remaining skirmishers. And back at home, there's an artillery foundry going down for Kynesie.
Yeah, and that might well be what he needs to sort of come back here. Some artillery could be really strong against the longbows. He'll certainly need something to deal with the cavalry there, but it always seems like they can't. That it seems like sometimes that can be a get out of jail free card, messing up artillery, but equally it can be something that goes horribly wrong. I guess that's quite a wide range of options to choose. But yeah, what do you think of artillery?
I think artillery can be quite scary, for sure. 2 Falcons coming from Conqueror now, going to be pushing through this wall onto the banks in the front part of the base here. Kynesie going to be throwing down a second layer of walls just to try and keep his units safe from these Hussars, potentially give the Falcons that he's training a position to be safe from, but with that, with the units coming in there and his mass being so small, he does actually call GG, so the first game actually goes over to Conqueror. Pretty convincingly,
that was really
too.
nicely handled. Really nicely handled by Conqueror. He just did, he came in with some units at the start. Don't let Kynesie sort of get away with it. It felt like 5 pikes wasn't really committing to too much. Didn't really cost him too much either. Makes Kynesie, well, I don't know. Kynesie probably would have built that full wall anyway, but I like to imagine the pikes is sort of what caused it. But doesn't really commit to too much aggression. Adds in his 600 wood, starts chopping wood, gets all the manners down, goes up to the next stage, gets 8 villagers, has this very, very nice economy, and just seemed very well handled from the British player there. Dutch, he came out with his sort of time, his opportunity, his window, so to speak, but didn't really manage to get enough damage done, and Conqueror comes out ahead.
Yeah, I really liked the way he played that. It was really, really clean, and netted him the win. So, we'll be jumping into the second game there. Just a moment.
You have the UI on your desktop. I just need to install it.
Do you want me to send it to you?
Otherwise...
Is your laptop 1080p still?
Yeah, it is.
Alright, one sec. Send it to you in Discord here.
God, do you remember the time before? Actually, I don't think you do. I'm not sure if you ever did do any casting before the UI existed. Those were the days, man.
I didn't, no. But I did watch a lot of casting before the UI existed. The days when you had to sort of to sort of click on all the resources and be like, all right, I'm pretty sure he got hunting dogs. Like, see how much wood has gone from the one tree and stuff like that.
And you like check the I'm just coming onto ESOC patch now. You check post-game graphs for like what shipments did they send and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or you're just like, you got to be paying very close attention to their town center and stuff like that. The good old days.
Oh, maybe this series won't be as long as we were anticipating.
Well, you say that, but you're not in the lobby yet.
That's true. That is true.
Conqueror has selected China, and it looks like Kynesie is going to respond with Portugal on Florida here. So, this is definitely a matchup where neither civilization wants to do much in the early game. So, with water and stuff like that, this could potentially be a long one.
I think Dutch is going to be the next civilization I play a lot of.
You think so? Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know, I think I quite like the style. And I was casting the other day with Kaiser, and that infantry combat card gave me the hots. Quite a sexy card, that.
It is a nice card, especially for Dutch. It feels like you can get away with sending it so often as Dutch. I like the Civ as well, but I try to play it sparingly, because if I play it too much, then I feel like I end up picking them into bad matchups and losing.
Oh. Oh dear. I always thought you were going to say, if I play Dutch too much, I start thinking my vills cost coin with every civ.
No. that would be that'd be tragic. Playing British and you're like, what? I can't queue vills. I have 400 gold. What's going on?
Yeah. I'm playing British. I can't build banks. What's going on? God, how would the game change if every civ could build banks? That's an interest. Maybe that's a smackdown.
Fat Chode. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for the subscription.
You said fat chode.
Is that what? Is that something I don't know about? I don't get it.
You know what a chode is, right?
No, I have no clue, actually. What is it?
It's a penis that's wider than it is long.
Ah, I did not know that. Well, thanks for the subscription anyway. I've never heard that word before.
Funny. That's funny. I've seen a few good ones, actually.
What? A few good... Never mind, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
A few hilarious Twitch names that I can't think of any off the top of my head that are funny. The only one that's coming to me right now is being called Bend Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not very funny, though. Anyway.
That's a classic
you better
one,
intro
though.
the street. What? My UI is... What? It's like half installed. What the hell?
No, switch to max UI and then back to minimized UI, and that usually fixes it. I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. Anyway, just looking at the map real quick. Looks okay. Alright. So, we're going to jump into the second game here. Conqueror currently up 1-0. He's going to be spawning the bottom side of the map here, playing as the best color in the game. Teal as the best civilization in the game. China, I'm just kidding, it's not the best civ, but I like them. He's going to be dropping a trading post here at the start. Going to be, actually, not gathering any wood at the moment. Okay, going to be gathering wood now for that village, which he will need to start fattening some of these livestock over here. And his opponent in the top side, taking a loss in the first game of the series here, going to be Kynesie, the wall master himself, on a water map. Going to be dropping a trading post as well, but no wood being gathered, so going to be 10-10ing it looks like.
How do you open the console? I need to type fix UI in there.
Switching from max to minimize didn't work?
No, it's worked. I just got some other thing that I know how to fix. It's fine.
Sadly, I don't know how to enter the console, but good luck with that. Anyway, yeah, 10-10 going to be coming from Kynesie, so this is a little bit different. I feel like I don't normally see him 10-10, but it's definitely a solid option as Portugal. Maybe not so much on ESOC patch, but in the past it was something you used to see a lot.
Part of me thinks he's in a hurry.
In a hurry for what?
I don't know. Part of me thinks that he's looking to end the series more quickly than he usually would. Maybe busy or something like that. But this is an important match, right? Like staying in the winners bracket, if you want to make it to the LAN, is valuable. It's going to make it a lot easier, that road. So Kynesie, well, anyway, maybe he thinks the 10-10 is good. That's clearly what he's doing. But you are right. I mean, hold on. He's got 135 gold. He could actually buy some food and have less idle time.
He could. He did just pick up 100 wood, but it looks like he's going to be eating a sheep, so definitely going to be sticking on the 10 villagers for now.
Yeah, it's not so good on ESOC patch, right? You start with less food crates, so
well, you end up aging what, like 55 food more slowly or something like that, because you have one less crate, but your vills are a little bit cheaper. So I think 55 food, yeah. But it's still Schooners. Have you taken a look at Conqueror's deck yet, by the way?
No, let's have a look.
He doesn't have any water cards, but he does have pretty much every upgrade you could want. He's going Old Han as well instead of Territorial, which I think is a good decision on this map and against Portugal, because Portugal doesn't really want to be making castors so much, which means you don't really have to worry about that range disadvantage a whole lot. And on this map, there are a lot of upgrades for your archers at the...
So your Chokanu going to be very, very strong.
Yeah, exactly, at the, whatchamacallit.
There were native villages. Okay, but tell us a bit more about Schooners, because if he's 10-10ing, how come he wants to go with Schooners? I imagine a 10-10 to be, quite an aggressive... looks like Kynesie actually going to pick up that 75 wood treasure, but will be attacked by those chappies nearby. Lots of criticals coming through. Looks like he will escape, though. Docky is going to go down by the looks of it, but he's 10-10ing. How come he's sacrificing so many early villages just to get up sooner and make a dock sooner? I'd have associated a 1010 with something a bit more
I
aggressive?
don't think you actually. So one of the reasons 1010 is good as Portugal is just because you don't actually sacrifice as many vills as other civs would, because you get that town center up faster. You get and because you get that town center up faster, all the like. Okay, so let me try and word it differently. If you age like 30 seconds faster as port, right, means you get that town center up faster, which means you get 30 seconds of trading vills from 2 TCs instead of 1 TC. So you get to rebuild that vill basically that you've missed later on in like early colonial. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So
And
you
then-
sort of gain a bill back at some point by being up soon.
Yeah, exactly. And then because he started with a trading post, he can get to send these colonial aid shipments a little bit more, although he sent economic theory second, which is interesting. It does affect fishing ships as well, so that might be part of the rationale here. But it means basically like he'll get these docks up more safely. Like there's not going to be anything out that can really kill this vill in the early game, especially against China, which is traditionally a really, really slow civilization to the second age, especially with this build that Conqueror is doing. I wholeheartedly approve of this build, as he's not put any vills on the Wonder, and he's going to be skipping 700 gold. Hashtag Mitoe build. And just going to be going straight to the Fortress Age without that 700 gold. Potentially doing something a little bit greedier. Save that shipment for Fortress, or maybe send like 600 wood instead of 700 gold or something like that. But 3 docks up now for Kynesie, and quite a few fishing boats already. So he's going to be booming quite hard. I think he's probably taken a look at Conqueror's deck by now and realized that there's not going to be any pressure until the Industrial Age. So he's free to do whatever he wants until then. Second trading post is going to be coming down. Just let those shipments come in more quickly. Those upgrades come in more quickly.
Makes sense. He sent Eco Theory. Perhaps he needs to remedy his XP curve a bit with a second trading post. But 700 wood does come down as well at the 5-minute mark there. I can't seem to press F11. Do I get the time? Yes, I do. Okay, but yeah, lots of docks, lots of fishing boats, schooners here. And this seems appropriate given that Conqueror, he is playing slowly, as you mentioned, up very late to Colonial, and therefore, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think lots of fishing boats is good against what his opponent is doing.
Yeah, for sure. Also, doing something that you see a lot of experienced water players doing, where they spread their fishing boats out a little bit, so they get a lot more vision over the water. They scout the opponent's coastline and stuff, so they know exactly what's going on and don't get surprised by like a sneaky dock or anything like that. And native scout treasure going to be coming down for Conqueror. It's a little bit late in the game for treasures, but you can never complain about native scout. Gives you a lot of information later in the game, so that will be nice for him if he remembers it exists. But second trading post is going to be going down for him as well. 700 wood out for Conqueror as well. Looks like he's got maybe another shipment on the way. Yeah, diplomatic intrigue coming and a consulate coming up now. So this could mean a couple of things. It could be he could just be sitting on the export. Could potentially think about putting a fort on the coastline or something crazy like that with the Russian consulate. Could also just save that export for Age 4 so he can get a factory. Could also go for the German consulate and get the trickles. So lots of options available to him here. I think the most common one is probably going to be the German trickles, as it also allows you to mass units more quickly once you have your military buildings up, especially if you're going for Old Han, which is a little bit expensive once you have the card in. It will help you mass that a little bit more easily. And yeah, he's going to be up to the Fortress Age now. Kynesie, still not up to Fortress, but he has now started walling. And it looks like he will be macroing to go up to Fortress soon. He's got 800 food and about 500 coin.
How much do those trickles give?
1.25 wood and gold, and 1.5 for food. So,
the same as the ones.
Yeah, so once you...
the same as...
It's... Yeah, that is the same as the trickles for... Like, the trickles from the shipments. You're right.
Mm.
So once you get all 3 of them, and it's almost like having a factory, but not quite. But, still...
An unupgraded factory.
Right, yeah. More or less. 1,000 gold coming down. So yeah, going to be going up to Industrial. Kynesie now clicking up to the Fortress Age. Going to be going up with the Exiled Prince, so he'll be up very quickly. Actually adding in a second layer of walls, too, so I think maybe he knows that he's being a little bit slow on this Age up. And Conqueror already being up to Fortress, could be going up to Industrial very soon, so just going to get that second layer ready in advance, so he's well prepared for it. There's a forward village here as well for Conqueror, so he's definitely planning on being aggressive as soon as he can get up. But the fishing boats... how many does he have? Looks like...
A lot.
He has more fishing boats than he has villagers. 31 fishing boats and 29 vills.
That's impressive. It's, I mean, Conqueror is only... I mean, he is behind, but 20 vills is... It seems okay at this point.
Oh, wow. He's actually got 2 fishing cards in already as well. Renderer plant and whale oil in already. And doesn't have the second tier upgrade from the dock for those fishing boats yet, but I imagine he'll get that soon. Yeah, just queuing it just now. So you got the resources for that.
Long lines.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like he's going to be trying to get up to Industrial himself pretty soon here. He's actually not going to be far behind Conqueror, who's only just now clicking up with that Confucian Academy, which will give him the 12 skirmishers. Yeah, he's not going to be too far behind Conqueror on this. We'll be clicking up probably in the next 30 seconds or so. I'm not really sure how this plays out. So, like, normally, China's a pretty good pick against Portugal, just because their army is pretty strong against Portugal in general. Like, Port likes to make a lot of dragoons and stuff like that, and China likes to be up to Industrial very fast, and they have a lot of really, really good shipments in Industrial. They don't need to waste their shipments on factories or upgrades and stuff like that. You can just send units over and over and over, and they'll still have a good economy and a good army behind it. And that repelling volley shipment that they have in their deck as well also gives them a really strong army against what Portugal normally makes, like a lot of dragoons. They get that extra multiplier and can kill them quite easily. So he's going to have a little bit of a hard time defending this, maybe. Stable and barracks going down now, but the walls are starting to be sieged. And we'll see what his first shipment is. Lots of resources in bank for Kynesie, so he can potentially train a lot of units here, but not a lot of production buildings up yet. Looks like he's got an artillery foundry down now. Does he have anything in queue there?
And Bastion coming in just now as well. There it is.
Yeah, gonna be just in time to save these walls, which will make Conqueror just a little bit sad, probably. But Flying Crow's out now to help siege down these walls. So they won't go down too slowly. It looks like he had organ guns in queue at the artillery foundry there, cancelled them for the culverins instead, so they'll be out in probably the next 30 seconds or so to try and deal with these crows. It's going to be a little bit annoying for Conqueror, maybe. Second War Academy going down. No castle or anything like that just yet. So not going to be any hand mortars and that to try and contest the artillery. He's also got the native post already. Does he have the upgrade? He is researching the upgrade right now. That'll give him 10% more damage on his his Chukonu, which he has not trained any of yet, but I imagine he'll train them shortly. Just waiting on the
he's getting the
upgrades
Seminole upgrade as well, or he's building the
yeah, he's got the
Seminole.
He's got the disciplined upgrade, but not the H4 upgrade yet. Is going to get the Seminole as well, which is kind of an expensive upgrade.
Culverin's coming out. Looks like they are going to deal with those Flying Crow. He's trying to move them back here, but I think the first one is going to go down. Certainly going to be picked off by the Goons, or Cazadors perhaps. Does go down there. Pikeman coming forward. Goons going to have to get back. And does get a volley on the Flying Crow with the Culverins a second time. Might get another one here. Yeah, it does. Does pick that up. Fireworks everywhere.
Yeah,
and 2 heavy cannons coming out as well. So Conqueror gonna have to deal with those, and having all these infantry could be quite difficult.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to deal with that. He's building a castle now, but only with 1 villager, with the artillery basically... Okay, not going to be pushing forward with the artillery, so he will maybe have time to get this castle down. He'll need those hand mortars to try and deal with this artillery from Kynesie, but yeah, for the moment, though, he's been thwarted. And Kynesie going to be sitting back for the next couple of minutes probably while Conqueror tries to get that hand mortar mass up with a pretty big economic lead. Up almost... No, he is up 45 villagers at the moment, or almost 45 villagers. Yeah, so he's going to be sitting comfortable for sure. He's going to have to delete some of these fishing boats in a couple of minutes here as the fish is starting to run out. But I don't think he'll be too upset about that. They've definitely paid off.
Yeah. And there's still whales, right? Like, there's going to be some late game economy there.
Yeah, for sure.
Factories coming down. This is really getting quite strong, this economy.
Yeah.
It's going to have a lot of stuff.
All the upgrades now coming in for China. Oh my god, Kynesie's clicking up to Imperial. At 14 minutes.
Do you think he'll get away with that?
I think he's already got away with it. There's nothing out for Conqueror yet. He's got hand mortars in queue, but 5 hand mortars isn't enough to deal with 2 culverins and 2 heavy cannons by themselves, and all these walls. And yeah, Kynesie is definitely going to be up to Imperial. Only 2 hand mortars coming out too. Going to be trying to push on the side, maybe away from where the cannons are, trying to abuse the immobility a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit too late, it feels like.
God, Kynesie's slamming walls everywhere, just everywhere inside his base.
Yeah, it seems like you definitely can't allow Portugal to just get away with 3 dock boom, with 3 upgrade cards, economic theory rendering plant, and whale oil before 8 minutes. Seems like it's quite strong economically, for sure. 1 flying crow coming out from the Confucian Academy here.
These 2 mortars are just going to take forever to do anything. Culverins do find the flying crow there. Heavy cannon takes a volley on the Chuckanu. And now those 2 hand mortars, they may not last long.
Yeah, they're going to go down pretty quickly to those Culverins, it looks like.
And now Conqueror going to see Kynesie click up to Imperial and probably going to think,
is that just an instant resign when you see the Imperial Age?
And that you've done like no damage.
And you're nowhere near Imperial yourself. Although, I mean, his units are not that far off of Imperial units with both of these native upgrades on them as well. They're definitely weaker, for sure, but they are quite strong themselves, so he might be able to fight this for a little while longer. Those hand mortars getting wrecked by that Culverin volley, unfortunately, but it looks like they might be victorious in the end. But again, it's still going to take him a long, long time to get through these walls. Another batch of hand mortars coming out. Second town center going down as well on the top side of the map here, trying to secure a little bit of additional resources.
Trying to slam into these walls now, but those cannons aren't quite dead yet. Looks like he might be able to pick it off with the Chuckanu. Yeah, it does take that down, but here comes another heavy cannon. Looks like he went up to the Imperial Age with the General for some musketeers. And he's upgraded them to Veteran.
Yep.
And it has a 3rd heavy cannon, which is pretty good.
Yeah, normally you see 5 organ guns coming out now as well. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, normally you see players go up with 2,000 coin, but this seems pretty good in this circumstance.
Yeah, definitely.
And now Kynesie, those really powerful Portuguese industrial upgrades coming in. We see gunpowder infantry combat. Maybe that explains why I went up with the musks. I don't know. But either way,
yeah,
the door's going to be upgraded.
Yep, and behind this, does he have his capital up yet? He is building the capital now. Once he gets those capital upgrades, his economy is going to be insanely strong.
Can he afford to get them up with all this pressure there? I mean,
it looks like he can't. It looks like he can't for now. He doesn't have the wood for it. Does he have any Imperial upgrades at the moment? Doesn't look like he does.
Oh, not yet. This is a wonderful game. Look at all those mortars in the back. There's quite a lot of them now.
Yeah, there is, but losing the Losing the Flying Crow. Gonna hurt a little bit.
And I think the situation that Conqueror will be reasonably okay with, right? Like having played a lot of Treaty and Deathmatch, controlling large numbers of units and having an absolute ton of artillery to manage is probably something he's not overly... So probably something he's had a lot of time to practice.
But
I wonder
at the same time, if you don't have the economy to keep producing units, it's going to be difficult. Repelling Volley coming in now going to make those Chukunu quite a bit better against the Jeanettes and stuff like that. But he doesn't have any units behind this, so just look at the score. Like, Kynesi's pretty much double his score already, and yeah, that's GG. And yeah, that was quite a ridiculous boom, and I suppose this is why you can't just let Kynesie get away with water for free.
What would you have done as China?
I mean, at least you've got to at least ship boats, maybe, I guess, or try and kill the docks or something. As long as you force him to invest in defending a little bit, like if he has to ship warships himself instead of like upgrades, then it gives you a lot more time to punish it, maybe. I think China can also fight water relatively effectively too if you have a little bit of practice at it, because the fire ships, they two-shot docks, and they're pretty hard to defend against, especially if you're not prepared for it. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, very dominant game from Kynesie. The resource graph is only slightly disgusting.
Let's take 53,000 food. Oh wow! Oh god, that is something. All right, that is.
Yeah, and it's not like China has a bad economy either when they go for a greedy, fast industrial like this. It's just having 100 villagers at 9 minutes is hard to deal with, I guess.
All right, the score is 1-1. Kynesie taking Japan, and now Conqueror gets to pick afterwards.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be Japan on Kamchatka.
Gonna switch to India.
Okay. Not a particularly great matchup for India, I think some people would argue. It's not terrible, but I think this is one of Japan's better matchups for sure. So I think Kynesie is going to be A-okay with that. Something interesting about Kamchatka is the choke points on the rivers there is very wallable, so something that Kynesie could potentially be very happy with. Don't know how relevant it is in the early game, as you can't really defend the walls if you wall that early. And they die pretty quickly on EP, so you might not want to actually go for that, but we'll see. I think when I've seen him play on this map in the past, he usually just walls his base instead of the choke points, so I guess maybe that point isn't that relevant. But yeah, maybe Conqueror's got something planned for this.
If we get Kynesie on the Sunday show match, I'm gonna create overlays with a lot of walls on them.
That sounds like a good idea. How many water maps are in this map pool? Okay, so we've got Florida and Baja, California. So one more water map in this best of 5. So
what were the vetoes? I'm surprised Florida and Baja were not one of those two were not vetoed by Conqueror.
The vetoes. He vetoed New England.
Ah, all right. I wonder why. I guess that is a water map, and if you're going to veto one, that's just as fine as any other.
Yeah, I mean, New England is a map with a lot of water for sure, and it's pretty easy to wall, so I can see why you wouldn't want to play against Kynesie on that map, for sure. And Kynesie himself vetoed the Tar Desert, so not interested in those aggressive maps so much with his playstyle, I suppose.
Looks like we're starting game number 3. The score is 1-1. And Mitoe will do the intro because he's the one streaming today, which is it's quite nice for a change.
I don't like you, Interjection. I just want you to know that. Okay? Alright, yeah, I'll do the intro.
I want to see some docks.
I've played against Kynesie on this map before, and he's built docks, so it's a possibility.
Yeah. I've seen Azamp build. I was watching A's on stream the other day, and he built a dock on one of these little ponds and started making a frigate. No, he made a monitor. It was in the Industrial Age.
Yep, it can be pretty annoying if you don't see it coming. In any case, though, spawning on the bottom side of the map here, picking up his first win in the series is going to be Kynesie playing as the red Japan, dropping down a consulate. Going to be going for that greedier start. Looks like Conqueror in the top side of the map, playing as the Teal Indians. Not going to be 10-10ing, just a relevant point there. Is going to be building a trading post in the middle of the map, though, which will help with India's economy quite a bit in the mid-game, but will slow him down to colonial as well, so a little bit of a greedy start from him. Going to be escorting these goats home as well. Doesn't want to get those stolen by the Japan player. And, yeah, I'm not sure what to expect from this, but seeing the trading post out of Conqueror, I feel like he's not going to be overly aggressive.
Portuguese consulate coming from Kynesie.
Yep.
As expected. Let's take a look at his deck. I wonder if he's selected it yet. Not yet. We'll come back to that in a moment.
But anyway, this map sort of makes sense for both of these civs. Goats, of course, going to be very helpful for both Japan and India. Also some very nice treasures for both civs with the wood and food treasures that often spawn on this map. Lots of hunts for Japan to shrine safely at home. And maybe India not going to be so happy about how many resources are in the base, but either way, it's still not an issue for them for sure, so makes sense in that regard. Can also be easy to take map control with India if you just want to drop like an aggro fort in the middle of the map or something. Could be something that Conqueror is considering. But like, look how slow you are when you go for this trading post as India. It's 2 minutes 20 seconds into the game, and he only has 100 food in the bank. And most of his villagers are still on wood, so it's going to be quite a long time before he's actually up to colonial. And it's going to give Japan a lot of time to get away with this shrine boom that he's going for. Heavenly Kami coming in now to make those shrines a little bit cheaper and gather just a little bit faster. So, yeah, lots and lots of time for Japan to do their own thing. Let's take a look at the decks now. No 5 Yumi shipment for Japan in the colonial age, so that's probably not. We're probably not going to see many Yumi from him early on, but we still could, I suppose. He has lots of time to. He probably doesn't actually need to send unit shipments against what India is doing this game, so yeah. Conqueror's deck, on the other hand, looking relatively standard, does have royal green jackets in his deck, which is something we don't always see from India. It's basically counter infantry rifling. Will give him that extra multiplier against Ashigaru later in the game. Could be good for him at some point to have that option. But other than that, his deck looks pretty normal. No economic shipments in this deck at all, though. Aside from the wood trickles, so not going to be set up for the long game too much, whereas Kynesie has 3 pretty heavy economic cards in his deck for later on. Good Faith Agreement's actually coming second for Conqueror. So this means that he's probably going to be going for a consulate in transition here, and going to be going for probably the Ottoman villagers and the French consulate for the crates at some point. And an aggro fort going down in the middle of the map with 1 villager on it. Only just started that very recently, so he's not going to be up to Colonial until probably around 6 minutes-ish into the game, so Japan not going to need to be super hasty about getting these walls down, but knowing Kynesie, I imagine he'll get them down all the same. Yeah, here we go. Going to fully wall his base.
Yeah, and that's quite a nice wall, actually. I'm always surprised how good Kynesie's walls are. I mean, he's built the market, the consulate, and the shrine as part of the wall, which is handy. And then only a tiny bit of wall is needed to reach that sort of cliff, so to speak. Base still open, but could easily wall that off later. At least he knows where the units will be coming from. And then all the way down to the trading post as well. But it seems relatively effective.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, so far he's only invested 30 wood into this wall, right? Like, it's not a big investment at all for him to do this. Going to be a little bit more expensive with the Vil idling a little bit to build these walls. But all in all, still pretty cheap to defend your base so easily. And 6er wood coming down from now, so we might see some military buildings coming down soon with that. Trading post going to be dropped as well. Going to help give him some of those shipments later on. Potentially in the Fortress Age or something like that. Meanwhile, looks like Conqueror still not up to Colonial. Going to be hitting Colonial now. Actually, a little bit earlier than I thought, around 5:40.
Still seems quite late.
It is quite late, yeah. But he did compensate for that a little bit by sending a second card in H1. That good faith agreements, if you get to use enough stuff at the consulate, definitely does pay off. And he does have the consulate up now. Not allying with anything just yet, I think. But when he does, he's going to be waiting for diplomatic intrigue for sure before he allies with anything. But when he does, he'll be able to start making use of that card. But for now, looks like both players just content to boom. 2 Sepoy in queue for Conqueror, and 2 Yumi archers in queue for Kynesie. Actually gets 3 out.
French consulate coming in.
Okay. So that's going to mean that he's going to get the crates from that, and the 5% bonus will help his economy just a little bit, help compensate for the fact that he's not going to get those Ottoman Vils pretty soon. It would also help him jumpstart a macro to the Fortress Age, basically. But yeah, Kynesie sitting on 170 shrine pop. Definitely can't
Looking
complain
solid.
about that. Yep, and shrining up.
Coming in next as well.
Yeah, shrining up all the
Archers
hunts
coming in.
behind Conqueror's base as well.
Oh, I see. So if he wants to destroy them, he has to send his army back.
Mhm.
Clever. But Yumi archers are going to defend that shrine. It's fairly low hit points, but alive all the same. Looks like Conqueror's gotten all the crates he wanted from the consulate. Now going to end the relations. So I'm just going to get those crates, and that's fine. I guess that's actually not too bad at all with the
Yep, gets the wood and the gold there.
good faith agreements.
And
Imperial
imagine
bureaucracy coming in now as well.
Imagine he'll switch over to Ottoman consulate now and get those 4 villagers before switching over to the British consulate. Couple Gurkha coming out now, just to help him.
Do the villagers used to be, they had a European look, right? But now they seem to just blend in quite quickly.
Yeah, I think that was changed on ESOC patch, so they are more. Well, actually, I don't think they ever looked European on the official patch, but they did sound European when you clicked on them.
I think that would have been cool if they poof goodbye. He's going to take this.
I'm pretty sure they still
Try now.
function the same way.
Yeah, they should function all the same, but I think they should look different.
I mean,
It's clear that
they
they're
function the same way as European villagers. I don't think you can build town centers with them still, but I'm pretty sure the sound is now the same as other Indian villagers. I'm not actually sure. I know something was changed like that at some point.
What, and they don't generate export either, or something?
No, they do. They do. They do generate exports, so. But looks like spotting out the army with the Ottoman consulate there. Going to be backing off, not finishing off that shrine on the bottom side. Going to move to other shrines to kill. And it looks like he is going to be going up to Fortress himself behind this. But Japan already going to be up. And Knowing Kynesie, I would not be surprised if he tried to just go straight to Industrial off the back of this, with how slowly Conqueror's been playing this. So, I'm not sure how India deals with that. Say again?
Do you play against Kynesie often on ladder?
Not often, but sometimes. Is there a follow-up question, or is that all?
No, that is all. As you were.
Okay. Adding in a second layer of wall here. Gonna give his units a little bit more room to maneuver. This is something a lot of players don't do when they wall that they definitely should do, I think. Definitely gives him a lot more freedom of movement. And it'll allow him to pressure this forward base a little bit more easily later on, as you'll have a point to retreat to. So he can just escape safely through the gates if he gets caught out or anything like that. Looks like we're finally going to clean up the shrines in the back of the base here. But, yeah, let's see what Kynesie has in queue at the moment. He doesn't have any units in queue. And let me just take a look at his deck real quick. 7 villagers on the way. He could be thinking about going up to Industrial behind this with no units in queue. He certainly has a decent number of resources to do so, or almost do so.
My battery's running low, and I think I left the charger in Manchester.
Really?
I think it'll be okay for a bit longer. It's on 19%, so we'll see how that holds up.
You don't have any other chargers? You're gonna leave me alone here, Interjection?
I hope not.
How much battery do you have left?
19.
So you're probably good until the end of this game, but after that, that sucks.
That could be awkward. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Disciplined Seapoy coming out for Conqueror now. And
well, something always goes wrong.
It's, yeah. It's alright. But you're going to be without a computer for the rest of your stay then, it looks like.
Honestly, I think I'm just going to buy a charger. I wouldn't mind a second one anyway, because I keep doing this at the studio. I leave my charger at home, and then I can't charge it at the studio.
So you'd rather just leave one there, right?
Yeah, I will, like, having two is something I would want anyway.
Right, fair enough. It looks like Kynesie is going to be clicking up to the Industrial Age pretty soon. He does have the resources to do so, but these two Siege Elephants are going to be applying a lot of pressure onto these walls at the moment. Maybe doesn't feel confident enough with his army to continue pressing the issue, though. And yeah, it's going to be the Shogunate going down in the back of Japan's base. And if Conqueror is not confident that he can fight this, that means that the Industrial Age is going to go virtually unpunished. And yeah, rebuilding those walls that went down a moment ago as well.
Kynesie, man. Industrial Age. It's just like two elephants in front of his base, shooting him, an army, and he's just like, nah, Industrial Age. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out with some Yumi, though. Mah out there, coming in. Looks like he's going to get back behind the wall. He's going to lose a couple of units for it, though. But the wall not going to last long. He has got a second layer, though.
Yeah, Siege Elephants are quite good at sieging, as expected. But yeah, he just doesn't have the army to deal with these Yumi at the moment, so he's going to be forced to retreat. Two Mahout Lancers coming, though. Could potentially give him the opportunity to push. Going to have to heal up that other low HP Mahout before he does so, though. Which is going to mean that Kynesie is going to be up to the Industrial Age totally fine behind this. Even if Conqueror is to come in right now, I think he'd be totally alright. And has a shipment available off the back of the XP you get from the Shogunate. And what does he have in his deck? Looks like it's going to be 16 Yumi Archers coming behind this. So not going to be sending the Flaming Arrows. Maybe because he's a little bit worried about the Siege Elephants picking them off. Mahout's getting onto the units. It was a really nice volley. Is that last Mahout going to go down? Yeah, got to get focused by the Yumi there, so not going to be able to heal that up. So it does lose a little bit of units here for this age up, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to be feeling pretty comfortable anyway.
Yeah, this looks like pretty strong.
Yeah, for sure. The Yumi themselves can just defend this. And now with the 16 Yumi shipment coming behind this and the Honored upgrade almost in, those Mahouts aren't even going to be strong enough to really stand here and deal damage to them, so...
Yumi are disgusting, man. And the guard upgrade now coming in.
Yeah, they're
gonna have honored.
They're quite good in Age 4 for sure.
I've changed my mind. I'm gonna play Japan
instead of Dutch.
Well, actually, I might play India, Japan, and China. I kind of want to just play all of them.
Yeah, the Asian civs are fun.
I need to like really get the hang of them because I've never really tried playing them fully. You know, I'm just sort of like I know the basics, but I should play them for sure. That's a lot of Yumi Archer, and now they got the upgrade. This and with the dude standing behind them, they're getting really, really strong. 2 cherry orchards are coming down there.
Yep, but seven Urumi popping out. I don't really see them being super strong against this army, to be honest. But you never know. He could just walk right into them. Redcoat's coming up behind this as well, going to get caught by the Ashigaru. And it looks like the Yumi are going to connect, or sorry, the Urumi are going to connect with the Yumi. But they, it doesn't feel like they're going to accomplish a whole lot here. Kynesie splitting up part of his army away from those Urumi.
I don't think I'll last much longer. It's on 13%.
Yeah, I think the game's not going to last much longer either, to be honest. Conqueror pretty far behind at the moment. It's reflected in the score. He's down almost 30 points. We can see that he just doesn't have an answer to these Yumi archers at the moment either. The Gurkha mass isn't quite large enough, and with the honored upgrade, that just makes it all the worse. And it doesn't look like he has a lot of units coming behind this as well. Only 2 Gurkha in queue. And, yeah, he's looking to be in a rough spot. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to go up to Industrial himself or anything like that anytime soon. He's got no resources in the bank for that. And, yeah, Kynesi's just going to be sitting pretty comfortable behind his walls here with the second town center on the top of the map as well. I mean, Conqueror has a second town center himself, but... And, like, a respectable economy, for sure. But just... I don't see how he ever kills this army, unfortunately. British East India Company coming in now. Going to be... helping his Gurkha out a little bit, 10% attack and HP, but I imagine Kynesie will be responding with upgrades of his own relatively soon, and Japanese upgrades are quite a bit stronger than British East India Company, so I don't anticipate that will be an issue. Right, yeah, it is.
Oh, PC's getting upset.
It's trying to tell you that you don't have any battery.
It's saying plug me in. That's what it's saying.
Unfortunately, you're just gonna leave it hanging, let it die, despite its complaints. A couple villagers getting picked off here. I'm not sure what the plan is for Conqueror here. He's got a second stable going down, and so are in queue at the moment. So he's trying to make some sort of cav switch deal with the Yumi at the moment. But Kynesie's training Ashigaru behind this.
But these things. Like, once you've got the guard upgrade in, they actually have quite respectable siege as well. I mean, it's not like amazing, but they are bringing down an aggro fort quite quickly.
It's okay, I guess. I mean, when you have like 60 units, you can kind of kill any building, I guess, regardless of how much siege they have. 10 Ashigaru coming to reinforce this, and yeah, I mean, there's 10 Soars out right now, but I don't know if he can really like Soars are good, but they melt pretty fast against especially Japanese units that have a lot of DPS on those or on those Yumi and stuff like that. Bankwagon coming to the forward base, just 2 PM. So yeah, I don't know if this will be a successful switch, especially with the Ashi being trained behind this. But Mam Sibdar's going to be making these units a little bit stronger, at least, in these fights. Way of the Bow coming out for Kynesie now. Going to be making those Yumi quite a bit more annoying to deal with the extra range and a little bit of lag. I think... Are you alive, Interjection? I think he's dead.
I'm on my phone now.
So your PC is dead then? Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want me to... Yeah. Do you think you can cast via screen share on your phone? Or is that too much to ask?
I'm probably going to skip this one.
Alright. Sounds good. Thanks for casting anyway.
Sorry, Mitoe.
No, it's alright. enjoy
Can you
the
hear
rest of your time off. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you not hear me? Hello? I guess, I don't know if you can hear me. Anyway, so I'll be solo casting for a little bit, it seems like. And yeah, looking like Kynesie to be in a dominant position here. There's only 8 SOAR coming in here trying to get onto the Yumi, but going to be forced to back off for the time being. And yeah, just going to be kiting back. Doesn't really have any reason to try and force a fight, but here comes the SOAR coming in, trying to force a fight onto the Yumi. They're going to get into a good position with these shrines sort of walling off this location. The Urumi going to be, or sorry, the Ashigaru going to be blocking the SOARs. But actually this fight not going too bad for him. Yellow-green jackets coming in now, going to allow him to melt through these Ashigaru really quickly. And actually, suddenly it's not looking so bad for him. Although, that being said, the reinforcements coming in. But the Yumi are just walking a little bit. And so we're going to be coming back in. If he micros well, he could actually pick off these Ashigaru and force them behind these walls. And all things considered, this fight went pretty much about as well as it probably could have gone for Conqueror. Enough so that Kynesie feels like he has to drop another layer of walls here. Going to be concerned about these siege elephants potentially breaking through. And yeah, not in such a bad position. Economy's still roughly equal. Military population heavily in favor of Conqueror at the moment. And yeah, if he can break through these walls, these siege elephants on this next volley, no, going to be going through the shrine instead. So these Yumi can still be safe behind the wall for another moment here. Even the church upgrades coming out for Kynesie behind this. So he's really set up for the long game here at this point. Yumi attack coming out as well. Going to make these Yumi quite a bit stronger. Another batch of SOARs coming out. They have SOAR attack in now, or camel attack, sorry. 30% more damage on those SOARs. So they do melt through these Yumis pretty quickly if you can get onto them. But it's looking like the army population is not as big of a deal at the moment as it was a minute ago. And still no possibility of an industrial age up behind this just yet. But again, all things considered, it looks like the fight's not going that badly. More SOARs coming in, trying to get onto the Yumi. Forcing them back behind the walls again. And he's done a really good job of keeping these siege elephants alive this game, which keeps a lot of pressure on these walls. It also means that flaming arrows are not going to be something that Kynesie is going to be too keen on sending as long as those siege elephants are alive. So good control on Conqueror's part. And looks like these gates are going to go down. There's no SOARs to threaten the Yumi at the moment. So he might be forced to back off a little bit here. But more reinforcements coming. No SOARs anywhere. Looks like no SOARs anywhere just yet. Oh, here we go. Only 6 coming to reinforce this army, and as a result, Conqueror is going to be forced to back off. Kynesie going to be trying to frantically rebuild those walls, and now finally sending flaming arrows. Probably feels he doesn't really have anything better to send at the moment, as he's got both of his Yumi upgrades in. But with the siege elephants in, should still be okay against those for the time being. But I think Conqueror really needs to think about how he's going to get up to industrial age and deal with the tech disadvantage that he's had for the last 5 or 10 minutes in this game. Desert Terror coming in now, going to give those SOARs an extra 0.5 times multiplier on those Yumi. And shifting focus a little bit to the top side of the map here. Going to be tricky here as the military population has sort of swung in favor of Kynesie at this point, as it looks like the resources are starting to dwindle on the other side of the map for Conqueror, and he's had to start dropping rice paddies. And yeah, going to be forced to back off again. And we have to remember, too, the longer this game goes, once we start switching over to rice paddies and stuff like that, Kynesie does have upgrades in his deck, and Conqueror does not. So this is not the situation that Conqueror really wants to be in. So it looks like he's sort of committed to trying to do something in the Fortress Age and not going to be looking to go up to Industrial anytime soon. Only 3 rice paddies up at the moment. Circular saw coming out now. Gonna make gathering the wood for those future rice paddies and upgrades a little bit easier. And this lone villager is going to live for the time being somehow. The lucky guy. We're gonna be pressuring the TC with these siege elephants for the moment. Does get one vill kill. Everything counts at this point. Max villagers from Conqueror, almost max villagers at least, it looks like, at this point. Yeah, very close. So he's still doing well economically, but again, later on it's going to be a problem not having those upgrades. And he doesn't have any units as a result of having switched over to the rice paddies to really fight this army that's much more upgraded than him. Onir Ashigaru now coming in behind this. And one siege elephant down, so these flaming arrows are going to be a lot more effective than they otherwise would be. Could potentially pick off the other siege elephant, which would be really big in the effectiveness of these flaming arrows. Almost goes down 23 HP on that, but the Gurkha going to be walking right into the Ashigaru. Just going to be trying to get away. They do have the extra multiplier. Oh, the siege elephant! It's going to go down for sure if Kynesie's paying attention. There we go. So those flaming arrows going to be uncontested until this castle goes up over here. Going to need to train siege elephants from that, but they're very, very expensive, and there's no gold left on the map for Conqueror. So those siege elephants are going to be very, very hard for him to train. They cost 300 wood, 300 gold, and all of his other units cost gold as well, so this is a very tricky situation to be in as Conqueror. It looks like all these buildings on the top side here are going to get cleaned up, and I don't think the Indian player can last too much longer here with the tech disadvantage and without any gold mines or economic upgrades in his deck, and it looks like the Shogun going to be coming in here just to snare this army. There's not going to be any units that can really contest him at the moment, and that is probably going to be GG in a moment here. There is an 8 Gurkha shipment coming behind this. Not a very good shipment to be sending at this stage in the game, but you need anything at this point. Anything's better than nothing. And looks like on the top side of the map here, Ashigaru now getting onto the rice paddy is going to be killing the villagers. A big batch of Mahouts coming out, actually. It has been focusing down the Ashigaru a little bit, but there's more coming in from the top side, going to be getting into position to defend these Yumis and Flaming Arrows. And yeah, it looks like these Mahouts going to get cut off, and these ones here on the front not going to be able to do too much. But yeah, that's going to be the game. A good attempt from Conqueror, but sadly not enough, as he does end up being behind in both military upgrades and economic upgrades. And yeah, just a little bit too slow. It felt like he played that a little bit too slowly. Economically, he kept up the entire game, but maybe if he'd been able to get up to the industrial age himself, he could have been alright, but sadly for him, Kynesie does manage to take advantage of the fact that he was playing it very, very slowly. Had a full minute in Fortress where Conqueror was not yet Fortress himself, and used that to get himself up to the industrial age and get those upgrades in on those Yumi archers, which played a big role in him winning the game. So Kynesie going to be leading 2-1 in the series. Moving into the next game, it's going to be Baja, California. It is going to be a water map, which is going to be difficult for Conqueror to win for sure, as Kynesie is, of course, as we all know, a very experienced water player, and as we saw in the previous game on Florida, he can definitely get a little bit out of control on water if you don't try to keep him under control. Alright, so Kynesie does have to select his civilization first, as he did win the previous game. Alright, looks like we will have a co-caster. They will not be all alone. But yeah, Kynesie does have to pick first, and he's already used sort of his two staple civilizations, both Japan and Portugal. He's already won with, and could not play them again for the rest of the series. So he is going to have to pick something a little bit different on this map. So even though it is a water map, it's not going to be something that Kynesie is super comfortable with. Hello, Musketeer. How you doing?
Hello. Hopefully I can be a halfway decent replacement interjection today, but
I'm sure you'll do just fine. Have you watched the first 3 games?
I was kind of watching. I think I didn't see the first one. I saw most of the last one, though.
All right, fair enough.
Any thoughts on what matchup we're going to see here? Who's picking first? Kynesie has to pick first?
Yeah, Kynesie has to pick first. And he's already used Japan and Portugal, which are sort of his 2 go-to civilizations and 2 civs that he's very comfortable with on water. As far as what he can play on water, I know that he's played Ottomans before. He's played British before. I don't know how comfortable he is with them, but I would expect him maybe to pick one of those 2. He could also pick Aztec. That's another civ that he's definitely likes to play. But I don't know how comfortable he is with the water aspect, with the water build orders of those particular civilizations. So we'll see. It could be a good opportunity for Conqueror to get back into the game.
Yeah, do you know what maps, maybe you've talked about this already, what maps each player vetoed in this series?
Yeah, so Conqueror vetoed New England, which is no surprise, I think, with all the choke points on that map means that it's very easy for Kynesie to wall. On top of it being a water map is probably not something you want to willingly click into against Kynesie, I guess. So that makes sense for sure. Kynesie also vetoed the Tar Desert, which I think also makes sense for his playstyle, as you have to leave pretty early. You have to leave your base pretty early on Tar Desert most of the time, which means that if you wall your base, there's not going to be a lot of resources in there for you to defend anyway, so there's not really a whole lot of point in walling. And in playing to his strengths, I think it just it didn't make a lot of sense for him to keep that map in the pool. So
yeah, absolutely. Those seem pretty sensical to me, and it, like you said, it looks like Kynesie has locked into British here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's sort of his next go-to civ on water maps for sure. So Conqueror will get the counter pick. Looks like he's AFK at the moment, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long for him to pick his civ.
Yeah, hopefully not.
One sec here. Alright, so... What do we talk about now? I guess, Conqueror has to win this game. This is potentially match point for Kynesie. If he wins this game, he will, of course, win the series. But if Conqueror can win this game, the next map is Deccan, a land map. And on top of Kynesie not having sort of his most comfortable civilizations, this is going to be a very important game for both players, really, because I think Kynesie would probably be, if the first game isn't any indication of how much Kynesie likes to play on land, if he is forced to play on Deccan without a civ he's comfortable with, it's probably going to be better for Conqueror. So the winner of this game on Baja, California here is probably going to have a good chance of winning the series. I mean, I say good chance, but if Kynesie wins, obviously he does just straight out win. But yeah, if he loses the game here, Conqueror definitely has really good chances to take the final game.
Yeah, I would say this is the game to see here, where we're gonna see this game making a big difference in who takes this series.
Mm-hmm. Aha! There's actually a deck in Kynesie's home city that's called Baja, California.
Oh man.
And it is, of course, quite water-centric. I think that's probably to be expected. 2 monitor shipment is really obnoxious in the industrial age, if he gets there. But, yeah, a lot of water cards, but as a result, he sort of skimps out on the unit upgrades a little bit. He does sort of have the most important ones in there, but nothing like Advanced Arsenal or Musketeer HP or Cavalry HP or anything like that. So later in the game, his army won't be as strong with this type of deck, but of course, when you have an economy the size of the USA, it doesn't really matter.
Can you remind us which techs come out of Advanced Arsenal that he'd be looking to use in this matchup?
Actually,
well, I guess we don't know the matchup yet, but
well, it doesn't really matter until later in the game, because I think you're probably going to be primarily going like longbows and dragoons if you're playing Kynesie's sort of style. But eventually, especially if you're going water and you're training warships and stuff like that on longbows, you're going to run out of wood. And once you run out of wood, that's sort of when you want to switch back to like the Red Coat Musketeers. And at that point, that's sort of when the Advanced Arsenal kind of pays off. That's sort of like super, super late game and probably not going to be relevant in this game. But you never know, as Kynesie's games do tend to go quite long. So it's a possibility for sure.
Looks like Conqueror's ready here. He's greened in with Portuguese. So maybe we'll be seeing some water play out of both players here.
Yeah, I think Portugal's not typically considered all that great into British traditionally, but as we know, Kynesie is not a very traditional player, so when looked in that light, Portugal seems like a decent pick here. Could potentially... Go on.
Conqueror has a deck in his Portuguese city called Team versus Kynesie.
Team versus... Yeah. It's got a lot of eco upgrades in there. This is not a team game, though, so
of course
don't know if you'll
I just thought that was
funny. It is kind of funny. But yeah, on this map, against Kynesie's particular playstyle, Portugal seems like a decent pick. You can sort of lock down the water maybe with your second town center on your own side, as well as maybe ATP to try and get control over those trading posts very early. And if Kynesie's going to be booming pretty hard, getting those TPs early will give you sort of a way to counteract his water boom without him really being able to punish it, as I don't think he'll want to be making a lot of units in the colonial age. And yeah, of course, Portugal does also have quite a good late game and quite a strong economy later in the game, so makes sense, I suppose, to pick Portugal. So what's your... how do you like this map? I don't know how much you play on EP, but...
I don't play on EP that much, but I do like this map. It is a little bit smaller, I think, is that right? Than some maps, or not so much?
I think it used to be larger, but Garja actually recently reduced the size by a little bit, so the rush distance is about the same as other maps, actually. But it does feel smaller, though, because of the water on the sides, I guess.
Yeah.
Sort of restricts the amount of space you have to really maneuver around the map. So in that regard, yeah, I guess it's a little bit smaller.
I definitely like these kind of two water maps. I think that adds a lot of depth when you've got these two separate bodies of water.
Yeah, definitely a lot harder to have complete control of both sides. But if you do have complete control of both sides, then it's a little bit overwhelming. So that's going to be an important point for Conqueror in this game, probably, to try and deny Kynesie control over his own side of the water as much as possible. And we'll see how he does that, but that second town center for sure could help him lock down part of that. Or maybe a third town center even.
All right, and here we go. Both players are finally ready to go.
Yep. Into the fourth and potentially final game of the series. Are you interested in doing the introductions? Introducing the players?
Well, you've got the camera controls, so...
Darn it, that was Interjection's excuse as well. All right,
I was
fine.
watching for that.
I was hoping you wouldn't realize what I was trying to do there. Just gonna take a look at the map real quick. Looks like it's mostly symmetrical, so I think this is all right. So, spawning on the right side of the map, do or die time. It's gonna be Conqueror playing as the Teal Portuguese. Gonna be a wood start for him. Gives Portugal a couple of options, maybe not as many as other civilizations. His opponent on the other side, on match point, is going to be Kynesie playing as the Red British. And, yeah, we'll have to wait a couple moments here before we can check their decks and really find out what their plans are. But for the time being, looks like 2 banners going to be down for Kynesie, so no wood start, or sorry, no trading post start or anything out of him.
Conqueror picking up a 60 wood treasure here.
Yeah, and 60 wood going to be picked up for Kynesie as well. So, relatively equal. However, it looks like Conqueror has opted to go for a market now with that 60 wood. Gonna grab that early hunting dogs upgrade, make his economy just a little bit better. So that's gonna be feeling pretty good for him. And I'm sort of interested to see if Kynesie chooses to skip 3 vills this game or not. That's always one of the tricky things when you play a civilization like a lot of European civilizations, I guess, in general, that have like the 3 villager shipment, and you're thinking about going water. Like, do you send schooners right away, or do you send 3 vills? Let's see, he's picked a deck now. And yeah, okay, he's sending 3 villagers just looking at his population, so not going to be in super early schooners or anything like that. No deck for Conqueror just yet. I am interested to see in what he picks, though. But this could mean that Conqueror could be a little bit surprised, maybe, as Kynesie does have the option to go land still with that 3 villager shipment coming in. And if Conqueror plays a little bit too greedily or anything like that, he could get caught off guard.
Does look like those last 30 seconds Kynesie asked for, he spent maybe customizing his deck a little bit. I don't think I saw this one when I was looking at his home city.
Yeah, this doesn't look like the same deck that was titled Baja, California, for sure. It's a little bit different. But it's got all the necessary cards in there. It's got schooners, advanced dock. It's got whale oil for the late game sort of fishing. It's got all the warship upgrades. 2 caravels and a frigate, so pretty normal stuff there. It's got all the cards he needs to play land too as well. Maybe not so much on the military shipments, but Brit can normally get away with a little bit less unit shipments than other civilizations, and some more upgrades. Economic theory. Oh, okay. So take a look at this deck here. This is a very upgrade-oriented deck. Even fencing school and riding school in here. Almost no unit shipments aside from the heavy cannons, organ guns, and the Mamelukes, and the explorers, I suppose, if you want to count those as unit shipments. So, definitely looking to drag this game out into the late game, it looks like.
Yeah, no evidence of water play in that deck, though, notably.
Yeah, potentially a forward base going to be coming out here as well. Oh, interesting. Conqueror's already walling these choke points. I actually really like this decision because it makes it a little bit more difficult for Kynesie to try and sneak vills later in the game onto his own side of the water. Like if he can keep control of like this middle sort of pass in here and then wall off all these chokes, it could mean that it'll be a little bit more difficult for Kynesie to actually get docks down on that side. But I think Kynesie has spotted the deck from Conqueror, and he's got a forward base potentially going down. Some forward villagers here at the very least. Market going down for him now. He's now up to the Colonial Age. Doesn't have the resources for a barracks or anything like that just yet, but it's definitely on the cards, and I don't know if it's been spotted. I feel like it hasn't been spotted, even though there is this trading post here and the Explorer was nearby. So he doesn't really have any idea.
I think he managed to walk that bill right by. And he's going to have quite a few bills up there now on that hunt.
Yeah. And 500 food age up coming from Portugal, so he's going to be trying to get up to the whatchamacallit, the fortress age very quickly. Actually, there's no military building going down behind this for British. Just Manor's going to be going down on the frontier. It's going to get spotted, maybe. I don't know if he spotted that Manor, but I feel like he probably did with that town center wagon. But it looks like Kynesi's just trying to get on the map with these villagers. He's seen the deck. He's also seen the food age up with his Explorer, so he knows that there's not going to be any very early units from Portugal. And yeah, okay, barracks now going to come down in the middle of the map here. He's seen where that town center was heading, so he knows that it's potentially going to be very exposed. And will be able to apply a lot of pressure to that potentially if he does manage to find it, which I imagine he will.
Oh, that's an artillery foundry going down.
Oh, interesting. Okay, he doesn't.
I suppose we're going to see some grenadiers here.
I think we are, but it's going to get spotted by this town center very, very quickly. So,
yeah, absolutely.
He'll know what's up, but it's going to make taking out this second TC pretty easy.
Yeah.
Conqueror is now aging to the fortress age with the marksman, so the 6 Cazadors. So it's going to be a little while before he's up to fortress, but he will have a few units out when he does hit fortress at least. Let's take a look at the units in queue. Yeah, Grenadiers in queue for Kynesie, so this is an interesting build for sure. It's not very often you see Muska-Gren in a competitive game, but I can see the appeal in this particular game for sure.
Kynesie barely managed to escape his Explorer up along the top of the map with just 21 hit points left, but probably not too significant at this point. But
yeah, it probably doesn't matter all that much. Looks like he will be trying to get
walls.
Home. So 5 Grens coming out. Going to be doing a lot of additional siege damage onto this town center. And this might just go down. I'm not sure that he really has anything to defend it. I mean, Colonial Militia coming now. Going to help a little bit, but there's only a handful of vills in the town center here, so it's not really a lot of additional damage. It's down to half HP. Okay, just going to straight up call the Miniman. This is probably fine for him to do this. He's going to kill a lot of...
quite good against the Grenadiers.
Yeah, he's going to kill off a lot of units, save the town center, start gathering with these villagers again. He's going to be up to Fortress Age pretty soon behind this, so this is actually looking like it could actually be quite good for Conqueror all of a sudden. And Kynesie behind this, you know, he doesn't have a poor economy. He's up to 120 Manor Pop, I suppose. 6-star wood coming. But these Grenadiers, if they're not sieging, they're not really the greatest combat units, although I suppose against Cazadors they do alright with how they ignore the ranged resistance a little bit. And they'll absolutely decimate the Minutemen once they're down to 1 HP, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But is there any military buildings out for Conqueror just yet? Looks like there isn't. I mean, he was forced...
This looks like an easy fight for Kynesie.
Yeah, I mean, the Minutemen are very low. But at this point, like, maybe this is sort of the best trade you can kind of get with those Minutemen now that they're down to 1 HP, so... Yeah. He hasn't repaired the town center yet, though, which could be not the best. With the Gren mass a little bit... well, not exactly a mass, but with a few Grenadiers here, he could take this down pretty quickly. But there's no military building out for Conqueror behind this because he was forced to send that Colonial Militia card instead of the 700 wood. He did get a little bit of repair down on that town center right before the unit started sieging it. Going to give him a little bit of extra HP. And the Minutemen coming out as well. Going to make defending this a little bit easier, but not super easy, especially with the longbows coming out to contest the Cazadors.
Stable finally going down in base for Conqueror there.
Yep, but I don't think it might be a little bit too late for this town center. He has a unit shipment available to him now, but it'll be a while
Only
before
3
that
grids
arrives.
up now.
Mm-hmm.
And
But well, I mean, at this point, do you really want to get full batches of Grens? Because the Grens aren't going to help you fight too much. They're pretty much only here to try and kill this town center, so...
That's true.
Maybe getting 3 Grens out is not the biggest deal in the world. Gonna try and escape with these villagers now. One longbowman dropping into melee to try and snare the Vills, but sadly longbows don't actually snare. But a couple of Vills will go down either way, but saves the majority of them. But losing the town center never feels good as Portugal, so he's got to be pretty unhappy about that. This is a really nice manor house position, also.
Oh, wow.
From Kynesie, just spotting out when Conqueror decides to move out to that side of the map. And look at the hunts in the base too as well. Like, now that that town center is gone, this hunt up here is very exposed, and it's pretty much all that Conqueror has left, aside from a couple of animals left in the back of his base. He's going to have to gather from berries pretty soon. Doesn't have any units available to him. I mean, he still has Colonial Militia to defend this. Actually, the Mamelukes coming out now as well. But there's nothing to really kill the Musketeers, so these Mamelukes might not be the most effective. He needs to call Minutemen, but I don't think he has the resources to do so. Here we go, Minutemen coming out. Okay, so, I mean, he is going to be able to clean up this army.
Yeah.
And he is up to Fortress, whereas Kynesie is not. So
it's been quite expensive, though. He invested quite a bit in Minutemen trying to defend that town center and really didn't do much damage with them. And now he's had to fight quite a bit and take a lot of hit points on these Mamelukes to be able to push that away.
Yeah, however, dealing with these Mamelukes is going to be difficult for sure, even with Musketeers. Well, that being said, with the reinforcing batch of Musketeers popping here, it might not be that bad. And it looks like Schooner is now out for Kynesie, and a dock going down on the southern side of the map here, and a villager sneaking up to the top side as well to drop another dock on Conqueror's side. So he's decided to transition to water now, but switching to water now means that he can't actually go up to the Fortress Age, although I don't know that he actually needs to with the state of Conqueror's resources at the moment. 6 longbows coming out now as well. Just going to help bolster that army a little bit. And this is the problem with Conqueror's deck at the moment. Just absolutely no unit shipments in the Fortress Age here, so he's already forced to send a card like Royal Mint this early in the game. Is feeling pretty rough, for sure.
Yeah, and he's managing to secure this hunt on the south of the map a little bit now, but he's pretty big, scary army coming in from Kynesie to harass the base here, and these Mamelukes pretty far away.
Yeah, and there's not really going to be anything here to defend this. Stable is going to go down. There's no other military buildings up for Conqueror as well, so...
chasing down a few vills with these Mamelukes, but I don't think that's going to be enough, especially with these docks up.
Yeah, although, I mean, he does still have another batch of Minutemen he can call from this town center, and he does have the resources to do so. So once these Minutemen, or Mamelukes, sorry, get on home, he'll be able to call those. But the town center is getting very low. He's going to be forced to run straight there. Minutemen do come out, but I don't think it's going to be enough, maybe.
Yeah, I think Kynesie can just fight this if he can get the Grenadiers in the right place there.
And the Gren's actually just going to be focusing down the town center as this fight goes on. And it looks like that town center is going to go down. Maybe? Actually, maybe not.
It's very close.
It's going to be pretty close. Yeah, most of the Mamelukes still alive, getting a little bit low, but it looks like okay, the town center is going to go down to 86 HP, now going to drop. Villager's going to be exposed, forced to fight here, potentially run towards the other town center. Only 2 Mamelukes left alive, one of them getting very, very low, another one also dropping below half HP. And with no... I don't think there's much that Conqueror can actually really do at this point to get back into this game. He's got another shipment on the way. He's got another shipment on the way, but it's just going to be like refrigeration or something, right? Or even like it's going to be like 700 wood. Yeah, 700 wood. Yeah, GG. I think that was a little bit too all in maybe from Conqueror there, but either way, Kynesie picking up a 3-1 victory over Conqueror, relatively convincingly. His Dutch, needs some work still, if the first game is any indication, but other than that, he played pretty solidly. This is probably one of the only situations in which Grenadiers are actually viable, so